welcome back to Madness in the Method, the podcast where we talk about Nicolas Cage and all the movies he has made. And he's made a lot of movies, so we're chugging along here. My name is Tobias, and with me as always is my friend and trusted co-host Christopher.
Hello everyone.
Hello. And in today's episode we are talking about The Weatherman from 2006?
2005. It's here.
Yes. Directed by what's his name? Gore
Verbinski.
Gore Verbinski. Right in the middle of his super mega ultra $1 million budget trilogy of Pirates movies, he decided to make a small little movie about a sad man in Chicago.
Yeah.
Which was it's a strange choice.
Yeah.
But I mean, spoilers for the rest of the discussion. I mean, it was a good choice in my opinion. So,
yeah. So you hadn't seen this before?
I had seen the beginning on video back when it was new. I think some friend of mine had it, and I just put it on. But I'd never seen the whole thing. And
what do you think it would be? What do you expect?
Well, we talked about this before. For some reason, mixed up this and The Family Man.
Yeah.
And then when I saw The Family Man, I was like, oh, that was a completely different thing. But now, having seen both of them, there are similarities. But they're very different. But there are similarities.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I can say because of the names and how he looks and everything, and I can see why I made the mistake.
But did you went into this movie suspecting like a feel-good movie or a action movie or?
I suspected it to be like a movie that becomes a feel-good movie. Well, I guess that's what the feel-good is. Like everything's sad, but then everybody gets happy in the end.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I don't know, maybe because it's Gore Verbinski, I was thinking maybe he'll do some unnecessary like weird shots or CGI stuff, but no, nothing of that. So, yeah. That was what I thought, at least.
Yeah, and as you said, you enjoyed it after all.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't what you expected.
Not really,
I guess. So I hadn't seen this movie. I barely heard of it. I've seen the poster, where it's not the poster on IMDb. There's a poster where he has like the quiver on his back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's like a DVD or VHS cover or something.
Yeah.
So I've seen that one, and just based on that, I had this, not knowing anything about the movie, not really looking anything up. I just thought it was some kind of closer to City of Angels.
Okay.
Like sort of like the Amor Arrow, something fantasy-ish like that. That's what I was thinking. You
hadn't even read the premise.
No. It was just the poster. That's everything I went by. That's not what it was at all.
No, that's not what it is at all.
Yeah.
This is very, very down to earth. Very, as I call it, hyper realistic.
Yeah. And I. This is one of those movies that I don't regret I saw it, but I won't really recommend it because it's not what I like in movies.
Yeah.
It's just too much of like feel bad exploitation. I don't know.
Yeah. I know what I was gonna mention. I was gonna say that. Yeah, it's almost, but not really bordering on misery porn.
Yeah, misery porn. That's the
yeah.
And that's not what I'm into.
Yeah. I mean, but like misery porn is like, movies where, it's everything is horrible. There's drugs and there's depression and suicide. This is more of a like a casual misery porn, because no one's really that fucked up, but there's like it's really depressing.
Yeah, that's sort
and
of
it doesn't really it doesn't really
worse.
pick it up in the end. Yeah, it's
and that just makes it worse, where it's just everything is just meandering along, and everything is just slightly terrible, not super terrible, just slightly terrible.
it's yeah.
And it's just, ugh.
Which-
and
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
and there's something of, we talked about this in previous episode, I don't remember where, but this, just how they film it and how the music or the score is, and it's just the way the movie looks and how it's sort of lingering on shots, and you just feel bad, man. It's
Yeah.
there's like, you could just, come on, man, just cut something else. No, we have to
No.
stay in this terrible situation for just
You're gonna
a
feel
few-
it all.
just like 20 seconds too long, so you're just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I guess that's good filmmaking, but it's not what I'm into. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
It made me feel bad. It made me feel things I don't wanna.
Yeah, and then like the movie goes on, and it's at the end. It's like, yeah, I mean, could be worse. At the end, it's
And that's almost what makes it worse than like those really depressing movies. Because at least in those movies you can when a credits roll, like that was really heavy, like Requiem for a Dream. That's real misery porn.
yeah.
But at least you can like say like, whew, I'm glad I'm not in those people's situation. The poverty and insane asylums and having your arm amputated. But the Weatherman is about like a regular guy who's like, he's got a good job, he's got a family, and still he is like inexplicably sad, and everything just nothing works.
Yeah.
And it's like,
oh.
this. It's a literally me movie, but in a bad way. It's like, oh no, it could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
Depression isn't just that you're no sad. It just hits anyone. You could be on the top of the world, and all of a sudden you just want to end it all.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So the movie's about, for people who haven't seen it, spoilers.
Yeah. I guess.
Is I feel like we're sort of at the time now when it's time to start saying spoiler warning. We've done it for a while, but
Yeah.
now we're getting closer in. It's not that old movies anymore. What I'm
No.
saying. But yeah, so it's about this guy who, he's a weatherman, like a literal weatherman at a news station, and he's, as he self-proclaims this, he does barely any work, and he makes quite a lot of money. Not like super much, but he's comfortable.
Oh yeah, he is not hard up for money anytime soon, and he works. What do you say, like? What is it, like 6 hours a week or something?
Yeah, something like that. So
2 hours a day or something like that. So.
Yeah, and so his working life is pretty okay. It's the problem there is sort of, we have a lot of these lingering shots where he just stands around and nobody really talks to him, and nobody's really, because he doesn't work there full time, so he never gets any connection to anyone. He just comes in, does his job, and leaves. So between breaks, he's just there around.
Yeah, because nobody has the time to get to know him, because he just disappears every day.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, and then he's divorced, I think, or I don't know if they're in the middle of divorce. Or...
Yeah, it feels like they're like separated or something.
Yeah. And he has 2 kids with his ex-wife, and the ex-wife and his relationship is pretty strained. It's not a good relationship, and then his kids are just in like trouble. No like drugs and things, but it's like things happen.
Yeah, well, I think the son, he was in like some sort of rehab center.
Oh yeah,
or
for smoking weed though. So
well, yeah.
They say, I think Nicolas Cage say that to the wife sometimes. It's weed. It's and then he has this father who is a great Pulitzer Prize winning author who is like friends with presidents and being this super great guy, and just having everything put together and everything just works. and he's just trying to work. Just
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage character is he just tries to be a good person, but he just fails, and it's just misunderstandings, and it just doesn't work ever.
I love how he explains or describes their relationship. Like, it wasn't when he talks about his dad, because he does a voiceover thing, which, you know, I didn't mind it too much, but I'm not a fan of voiceover in movies. Either way, it doesn't really matter.
No.
When we first meet him, it was like, it's not like he was a bad dad. In fact, he was a pretty good father to me and my siblings or whatever. It's just that, like, so it's not even that he has like a strained relationship or he has daddy issues or mommy issues. No, he had a fine upbringing. You know, his father was nice, his mother was nice. It's just that as he grew up, he kind of drifted apart because he tried to live up to these imaginary standards that his father, or that he thought his father had for him, but not really. I mean, he's not super supportive of him being a weatherman, because it's kind of like, you know, it is a shit job. Like, you get paid for doing nothing. It's not very, like, it's, I don't know, it's dishonorable. It sounds too heavy, but yeah, dishonorable. I don't know the word.
Yeah, it sounds like that from the father. That it's, the problem isn't that he's a weatherman. The problem is that he doesn't work, sort of.
Yeah.
That
like,
you need to do something. I don't care whatever, but just something.
Yeah. And then the whole thing where he tried then, of course, to go the same route as his dad, and he tried writing a book. For 4 years, he tried to write some sort of thriller with a sci-fi twist or whatever it was. And I guess I'm jumping ahead, but like, his dad hasn't even read it because he knows it's not going to be good. Yeah. And he doesn't want to tell his son it's not good.
Yeah. And that's the thing with the father is what is Nicolas Cage's character's name? David Spritz. David Spritz. Right. He's like, from his point of view, everything that his father says is just
He's disapproving.
Yeah, disapproving and not liking what he's doing and all of this. But the father really just tries to give him like a push to say, "Oh, don't you really want to do something, Miles? Don't you want to produce anything? Or and you don't need to be an author. Just what do you want to do with your life?"
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's this.
And for him, that sounds like he's like nagging or being disappointed in him just being a weatherman.
Yeah, and I think that relationship just between his father trying to help and David Spritz just trying to make his father proud, and they just never really get each other. They're not communicating the same language, sort of.
Yeah,
that's like the entire fucking movie with every relationship.
Yeah, and it's you know, when you're watching it, you kind of see like for me it was a lot of like I recognized myself a lot in Nicolas Cage's character, that he like doesn't really. He doesn't really have that drive to do anything. Like, he found this cushy job that pays well, so he's not going to try, really. I mean, he tries a little bit to, you know, be weatherman on a bigger channel, but that's about it. And the same thing with his daughter, who, it's also like, it's not, you know, she seems depressed. Well, she's also depressed, obviously depressed. She's being bullied in school, even though she doesn't really know she's being bullied. And like, she's just not good at anything. Like, they've tried dancing, they tried archery, and it's like, in a movie you're thinking like, oh, they just need to find her like hidden talent and she'll be happy. No, she's just an average person.
Yeah.
And they like slowly have to like just accept that in the movie, and you as an audience member has to like, yeah, she's just a regular person, and it's really like, that shouldn't be depressing, but it is.
Yeah. And then we have this like sort of pedophile storyline with the son.
Yeah, which is the only thing, like, they should have either explored that more or just cut it out, because it's this halfway thing, and that's the only thing I didn't really like about the movie. It doesn't really go anywhere too much. I mean, I'm sort of glad it doesn't go too far, but you know, it feels like it's being shortchanged a little bit.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of used as a what's it called? The trope, girlfriend in the fridge.
I haven't heard of that one.
Wife in the fridge. It's from an old Green Lantern comic where Green Lantern comes home from Green Lanterning or whatever, and his wife is gone, and he opens the fridge to get a beer, and she's dead inside the fridge.
Oh.
And it's all just this catalyst to make him go out after the villain. I don't remember what the villain is, but it's the trope is you just kill off a random character or do something horrible to a bystander just to make the main character have agency.
Okay.
And that's sort of what they do here, where they take this very underdeveloped character in this very underdeveloped storyline and just do it very, a very disgusting or very extreme thing, just to give Nicolas Cage character a win, sort of.
Yeah. That explains it pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah. Which just sort of feels weird that you feel, wait, why did you do this to this character? Just because this character needed something, couldn't you come up with something less toxic or extreme? It's weird because it kind of comes out of nowhere and it doesn't really go anywhere. Like he beats the guy up, but we don't. And they also don't really like the whole thing. Sure, we should believe victims, but we actually don't find out whether or not the guy made a pass at his son. Well,
or if,
that's very heavy-handedly implied.
Yeah, but you know.
So yeah, for people who haven't watched the movie and don't plan on watching the movie, so the son, as stated, went to sort of a rehab thing for smoking weed, and there he got this counselor, and then this counselor sort of runs into him out of the rehab facility afterwards a few times. At the mall, and he sort of buys him things and borrows him money, and then we don't see how it was led up to that, but at some point the son goes to dinner at this counselor's house.
Yeah.
And then the counselor they start to talk about photography, and then if you're gonna and working out, and it's like, you're gonna work out, well, you should take off your clothes and I can take some pictures to get some
before and after shots.
And
it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. And then afterwards we hear, like, off screen, that this counselor tries to sort of molest the son, and the son beat him up.
Smashes his car.
Smashes the car. That's how. And the counselor says that no, he was trying to steal my wallet.
Yeah. It is heavily implied. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And then
we don't really get a resolution.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the only good thing that David Spritz does in this whole movie, is he, like, completely takes his son's side, and it's like there's not even a doubt. He said, "Oh, fuck that guy," and then sort of he goes to that guy's house and beat him up and says, "Drop the charges, you pedophile, fuck off," sort of.
Yeah.
And that's the only good thing he does during the entire movie, which sort of repairs some relationships a little bit, or is a step in the right direction at least.
Yeah. Well, he does more good. He tries to be good. I mean, he brings his daughter along when he goes to New York to audition, and his dad, because he's going to a cancer specialist. Because in the middle of the movie, we find out his dad has cancer, and he's like gonna die in like weeks.
Yeah.
Just to add to the misery.
Yeah, that's true. The thing in New York is actually he does a good thing with the daughter there. That's true.
Yeah, but then when the movie gets to its conclusion. Sure, like he beats up the pedophile. He sort of, you know, mends his relationship with his daughter. You know, they're kind of on better terms than they were in the beginning. But nothing has really changed in the end. He's still, like, he tries to talk to his wife or ex-wife or whatever it is, but, you know, as soon as they talk for more than a couple of minutes, it becomes, like, very clear why they didn't fit together.
Yeah.
And we do get that one flashback, which kind of explains further how their actual marriage was. And I mean, he's still only going to see his kids, like, on weekends, and now that he's moving to New York, it might even be even less than that. And, you know, nothing is better in the end of this movie. He gets the new job, so he gets more money, but that's nothing in comparison to the rest of his misery.
Yeah, and that's sort of, it feels like a sort of a anti feel-good movie.
Yeah.
Because it uses all the tropes. It has this thing which is very common in feel-good movies or these kind of comedic dramas where he's just, when I get this job, everything will work out, everything will be fine. Yeah. Everything I need is to get this job, and then the wife's gonna love me, and then we can move to New York, and we can have a fresh start, and we can go start over the beginning. But then it's just, no, that's not how life works. There's not one simple solution. Yeah, he gets the job, he gets more money, he gets more freedom, but that doesn't make his wife love him. And it's just...
Yeah. That's the biggest one, that they kind of find out. They go to one couples counseling or couples therapy, whatever it is, that group thing they do. And we just find out in the end of that, which is also kind of one thing where I wish they kind of delved a little deeper into. She hates him, and for most of their marriage, hated him.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I can certainly understand that, how you can grow to hate someone, but we don't find out really why in the movie. So it's like, I get why, because the movie's already pretty long, so I see why they didn't want to add more stuff to that. But it also made me like question, like, so why did you get married in the first place? You know, I know why, but I wish they expanded on a little bit in the movie.
Yeah, because that's also one of those things we usually get in this movie, these resolutions where they, at some time, just stand on a balcony and then they talk about, well, remember we had some good times once. Yeah, I remember seeing you in that place. Oh, well, it was nice. And then we have a good resolution of that. And this movie says, no resolutions. You get none of that.
Yeah.
No explanation, no resolutions.
Life sucks.
No, life doesn't suck. Life is kind of meh all the time. Just
which is
fucking,
even worse.
Yeah, fucking deal with it.
Yeah. Oh. And you even have he takes his daughter wanted to try archery, but it turns out she just wanted to hunt animals, which is also like, maybe we should talk about this too.
Yeah, no, it's not hunt animals, it's kill animals.
Oh, right.
say hunt animals, but hunt animals? So yeah, I want to kill them. So okay.
We're not going to do that. And he doesn't talk about it anymore.
Never mention it again.
Yeah. But then he, of course, picks up archery, which is, you know, that's the metaphor for him picking up the piece of his life and actually focusing on something and getting better at it. So in the end of the movie, that kind of becomes like a hobby of his. Yeah. And he's really good at it in the end. But it doesn't, like everything else in the movie, doesn't lead anywhere. It's just, okay, now he's good at archery. And so? It's so horrifically bleak. And it takes place in like January in Chicago, which doesn't help at all. Everything is gray, and there's like the sloshy snow everywhere. And just, you know, to add insult to injury, they explain that every once in a while, maybe once a month, someone just throws food at him because they hate him just because he's a guy on TV, which is, you know, that's very realistic as well. You just see someone on TV and say, I fucking hate that guy. Oh, why? I don't know. Just his face. I hate him.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best scenes in the movie. The old couple. We just cut to an old couple we've never seen and never will see again. Who just fucking hate that guy. And the wife says, "Oh, I think it looks nice." The husband says, "I fucking hate
I
it.
hate him.
I hate his face." It's
Yeah.
just
And he mentions that maybe it's because, they think I have a cushy job, which, is true. That's probably part of it. But then you have the scene where he actually, because he usually just takes it. Like, so what? You can just dry clean the clothes. It's a price he has to pay to have the cushiest job in the world. But then there's this one scene when someone throws, I think it's a drink, and he runs after the car and throws it back into the car. He's like, I have a wife! I have children! I don't deserve this! And he throws it back at him. And the guy who threw the drink at him calls him an asshole for throwing the drink back at him. See, it's not even like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I now I understand why I was wrong for throwing this drink. No, not that either. They just speed away, call him an asshole.
yeah.
And he's kind of left in the middle of the street and like, maybe I am the asshole. When he isn't. I mean, he kind of is, but he isn't. It's just like, ah! It's so horrific.
Oh, yeah. And again, so it is. It is good filmmaking. It's nothing special in like the music or how the cinematography or something like that.
Not really. It's focused more on
but
the characters and performances.
Yeah, and I think the performances are great all over.
Yeah.
Everyone is really good and very believable. And
except, I just gotta say,
okay.
Oh shit! What's the dad?
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. It's a pretty bad American accent.
Well, yeah, okay, fair.
I'm American man, and I talk like this. I don't know, this is weird. But other than that, he's great.
But
his accent is terrible.
I think you notice this so much more because he has such an iconic voice.
Yeah, he's very British otherwise.
Yeah, so I think you notice it. I don't think it's so much that it's bad. I mean, it is bad, but I think it's more that that's not how he speaks, and everybody knows that.
Yeah. They should have just let him do and just said it. Oh, his mom was English or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a very minor thing. Other than that, great performances all over the place.
Yeah, and it's very, very like sort of anti-chemistry, if you put it like that.
Yeah.
Good chemistry, but hostile.
Yeah.
And especially from the wife, you really feel the hate just emanate from her.
Yeah, like how she just does not like him at all.
Yeah, and just sort of spits out every word when she speaks with him.
And not in a way that makes you like see her as the antagonist. It's just like it's this like you feel that for her he is the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
It's I don't know how to explain because in other movies you can just feel like, oh, the wife's just a fucking bitch and we're supposed to hate her. In this, that's not the case. It's her hatred somehow feels earned, even though it really isn't. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very good in all of those aspects. But I just have such issue with these movies. I don't enjoy feeling. I mean, I enjoy, but I like movies which make me feel like bad and miserable and like horror movies or real like gory movies and things like that. I like that, but with this sort of absence of both bad and good, just this black hole of nothingness.
Yes, yeah.
That's I have problem with that feeling.
I wrote that down. That was the only thing, like, one of the reasons, well, I guess people won't notice this unless they're patrons, which, you can always subscribe to our Patreon page, patreon.com/don'tmakeascene, to get these episodes early. But this one, they won't be getting early, because I watched this on the Monday before we were going to record it. We're recording on Tuesdays. And I just called you or texted you on Tuesday. It's like, I can't do the episode today. And it was, I mean, we talked about it briefly now before we started recording. It's, I think the movie, like, it brought me down in the dumps, like, hard.
Yeah.
I was just not in the mood to talk about anything. And you can even see that because I usually review I try to write something about the movies on Letterboxd, all the movies I watch, to explain my feelings about the movie. But everything I wrote about this movie was just depression in the making. That's it. I didn't write anything else because I didn't wanna. I was just I don't want to do anything, and then I just sat on my couch after watching the movie. Because that's kind of what it feels like. Like, he's not depressed, but he's going to be if he doesn't get his stuff together, you know.
Yeah,
it's like this. It's just the feeling. I don't know. I haven't been like clinically depressed or anything, but you've been, you felt really bad.
Yeah.
It's this feeling in the back of your mind, like something's wrong, and I don't feel good. Something's gonna happen, and that's this whole movie. Just like everything just feels bad.
This movie sort of it's a Swedish song, but there's a quote from it. It translates sort of to, "It's not that I'm sad; it's just that there's nothing to feel good about."
Yes,
that's what this movie is, and I would rather feel bad than this. Sort of.
Yeah, because then at least you feel something and you can get better from that. This is just, it's like being in limbo, in purgatory. There's nothing. Which, that's worse.
So I don't think I will ever see this movie ever again. I don't enjoy it at all. But you seem to enjoy it a little bit at least.
Oh, I thought it was a good movie, and I mean, I think the goal was to make people feel bad or feel nothing, feel hollow. So I think they succeeded, them being, writer, director, whatever. So I can't say I didn't like the movie. But I also probably won't watch it again, at least not in the foreseeable future.
So have you read any reviews or anything about the movie?
Well, before that, do you want to talk a little bit about Nicolas Cage? His performance in particular?
Okay, sure. I was thinking we were past that because everyone was great, but yeah, sure.
Okay, there's not really much more to say. Like, he doesn't stick out, but I think we talked about that, like how in some movies or in most movies you can't really see anyone else playing him or playing his character. But in some movies we talk about, it could be someone else. My go-to is always Honeymoon in Vegas could easily have been Tom Hanks. You know? This one, like, the character doesn't feel specifically written for him or that it needs his performance style. But I also, after having seen it, I can't see anyone else doing this movie. Like, maybe this could have been, I don't know, Tom Cruise. Like, I can't see that at all. I think he perfectly captures that horrible feeling that the movie is projecting perfectly.
And we talked about it before. He is great at reacting, and this is a movie where David Spritz, he is a lot of reacting. Yeah,
there's a lot of people talking to him, and he's just taking it in.
Yeah, just that scene you talked about when he runs after the car. And just afterwards, and it's just for a split second when he turns around in the middle of the street, and you just see as you said, all of these thoughts of, am I the bad guy, and the non-resolution to the problem and everything, and that's just a split second of him just looking at the camera for a second, not saying anything, and he's very good in this movie with that acting. So I have problems seeing anyone else, and also Nicolas Cage is very likable. I think that's just him generally. I think that's why he has gone so far in the movie industry, because he has that thing that just makes you, I like that guy, without really knowing why.
Yeah.
And that really, David Spritz, who is a very, very unlikable guy.
Yeah.
Really, he needs that inherent likability for us to sort of root for him.
Yeah, and I also think he then perfectly captures the kind of fake persona he throws on to do when he does the weather. Like, they even explain that he changed his name. His real name is David Spritzer, but Dave Spritz sounds more, Spritz, like, a splash of water. It sounds more fitting for a TV weatherman. So his whole like work life is like he's being this fake person, and I think Nicolas Cage captures that as well. Like he's just putting on a fake smile when he's reading the weather stuff or showing you the weather. Which is also like it's subtle things, which usually his style is not subtle. Well, there's been times, but for the most part, you remember the big scenes, the rage cage stuff. But I think in this movie, it's one of those examples of him being very good at being subtle in his acting or performing. I think he's really good in this. Really good at not sticking out, so to speak.
Yeah. So I have problems seeing anyone else in this role. There's probably someone, but I don't know who has that likability, but also the quality of being like an asshole, a likable asshole, sort of. Because I was thinking like, just because you said Tom Hanks has the same likability.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think he could do this sort of quiet reacting acting sort of.
Yeah, I mean the scene where Hope Davis plays his wife, when they talk about why she never liked to give him oral sex was because I hated you.
Yeah.
Like trying to picture Hope Davis saying that to Tom Hanks, it's just it wouldn't work. 'Cause his big puppy ass would just be like, "Oh, you hate me," and then everyone would just say, "Well, fuck that bitch." Then she would become the villain.
Yeah,
but here she doesn't, which is the point of the movie.
And I mean, who else except those two actors, like Nicolas Cage and Tom Hanks, has that sort of inherent likability, which without being a cool guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I can't think of a single one. Like imagine. Oh fuck, Mark Wahlberg. Like, that wouldn't work at all.
No.
Or you mentioned Tom Cruise. He would try to be too animated. He would try to do what Nicolas Cage does in other movies. I don't think he would have been able to do those subtleties that this role needs.
No. So, no.
I'm sure there's someone else, but like
there's always someone else. But
in the big AAA movie star land, Nicolas Cage is perfectly cast for this movie.
Yeah, because we need a big actor for this movie.
Yeah.
You can't have
a name to put on the poster.
Yeah, you can't have just a random guy, because this movie again is so understated. It needs something to draw people in.
Yeah.
I mean, if you read the synopsis of the movie, nobody would watch this movie. If you only read that. Because, I mean, what is it? It's like, I read it before. It's a Chicago weatherman separated from his wife and children debates whether professional and personal success are mutually exclusive.
Yeah, that sounds like the
most boring thing ever.
So then you need someone who can really work with the material.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually speaks for Gore Verbinski as a director as well. Like you usually, when you think of Gore Verbinski, you think of the Pirates movies.
Yeah. No, you think of Rango, obviously.
Yeah, of course. I have actually never seen Rango, but I've heard a lot of good about it. Yeah, I haven't. I should have, because
I've seen it. I don't remember it. It's fine, I think.
Okay. But I know Gore Verbinski has done like really Pirates of the Caribbean and I guess Lone Ranger, which he was forced to do some years later. That's not really like, that's what people know him for. But before that, he did smaller movies. He did that Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts movie, I think, The Mexican.
Yeah.
And then he did
The Ring, the small movie nobody heard about.
Yeah, well, I mean, have you watched The Ring lately?
Not lately.
Yeah, I saw it like a couple of years ago. It feels less like a horror movie and more like a detective mystery at this point. Because you've seen scarier movies at this point, you know?
I mean, that's the big success of The Ring that I remember, is that it's not just a good horror movie, it's a good movie also.
Yeah. One that, you know, has a similar style to this, because it's very dark and like depressing, that movie.
I gotta say, just before we go on, I do prefer the Gore Verbinski's version than the original.
Yeah, I've actually never seen the original. I've only seen his version. So
it's sort of mostly shot for shot the same movie, except that they move around the scares. So some things that's very scary in the American is not scary at all in the
Japanese.
Is it Japanese? It's not Korean.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Japanese.
Yeah, Japanese one. So there's a lot of they change around some things, but I think the American version works better.
Okay. Yeah.
Personally. So, well, anyway.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to mention this because, and then have you seen his, I think it's his last movie, A Cure for Wellness.
Oh, yeah, he did that one. That was great.
Yes. I really liked it. A lot of people did not like it at all.
I saw that.
It was kind of one you either love or hate, and I loved it.
Yeah, I saw that in the cinema.
Yeah, me too.
It was a great movie. I really liked that.
And I think, once again, a very dark, very, like, not so much depressing, but, like, dark and horrible movie, you know.
Yeah.
So, I think looking at those movies... And
we need to ask ourselves, how does he... How does Gore feel? Does he need to talk to someone?
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder. Because I think he has... just looking at his non-pirate movies, and I guess the pirate movies as well, pirates movies, like he has like a firm grasp on what he wants to achieve, like visually with his movies, whether it be like a big, ship battle, or a scene where Nicolas Cage runs up to a car and throws a soda at the guy driving. He knows what he wants, and he knows how to capture the feeling he's going for, like, perfectly. I'm thinking of the scene where, in this movie, The Weatherman, when he goes to do the audition at Hello America, the morning show, whatever it is he's going to do. And he's going to do like a quick, like, they're going to try him, just having to do some quick, like, showing this on the green screen or whatever. And there's this shot where he kind of gets left alone for a couple of minutes while they go set up. And he's like, he knows exactly what he's supposed to do because he's done it 100 times before. But for just a second there, he feels kind of lost because it's much bigger than what he's used to. And the camera just goes it doesn't like pan out or anything, but they cut to him in this much, like, he becomes very small in the picture, and it just for a split second captures his, like, captured the mood of him, and in that split second where he just wasn't fully, like, secure
Ready.
in his position. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and there are little things like that pop up. So in throughout the movie. So I want to commend Gore Verbinski for his directing as well.
Yeah.
Just before we wrap this up. But to wrap this up. Right, reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read some reviews. It's got a okay score. It's got like a 61 on Metacritic. However you want to read that. Let's see if we got any, like, really bad ones. Let's see what Roger Ebert said, if he said anything. Of course, yes. He gave it a glowing review, 88 out of 100, whatever that means. This film has moments of uncommon observation and touching insight. Hey, this week I agree with Roger Ebert. The movie nothing really interesting here. Sort of like the movie, like it's just But let's see what the worst one it got. I don't think it even got any bad reviews. Just got middling reviews, good and middling. No, it got. Here we go. What? I don't know. It's from the New York Post, and let's see if I can read the full thing. I don't think so. No, of course not. But the little blurb just says, "Meet American Beastly." I think it's a joke on American Beauty. Perhaps the most bitter studio film of the year. Yeah, that I can agree with. But I don't know why that has to be a bad thing, because he gave it a horrible review, like 2 out of 10. Here's more of a middling review from Entertainment Weekly. The Weatherman is what indie misery looks like when recreated by one of Hollywood's big studios. Yeah, I would agree. But that's about it.
So yeah, on the user side, there's a lot of people who says this is a great movie. Just it's excellent social commentary and an unexpected gem. Best movie of 2005 so far. Wholly pessimistic, yet somehow profound and engaging. But then there are, which I think those are my best reviews. These people who are like, I was not having fun. Bad movie.
Movie made me feel bad, therefore bad movie.
Yeah. So this is a 1-star review, which starts off with, yeah, I get it, film snobs. This is high art. It's an homage to melancholic French film noir with lots of drab snow and blue filter lenses. You don't understand tragic comedy, some of you may suggest. Oh, I understand it all right. Only the Weatherman makes a dog's dinner of the particular genre. If that's indeed what they were going for, I'm not sure. If awards are given for such things, Nick Cage might get an award for maintaining the same long, monotone, hangdog facial expression in nearly every scene for 2 hours of screen time. Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton perfected this bit. The sad, luckless clown, wandering through life, getting beat down, but winning our hearts because they persevere. Cage can't bring it on like Keaton. About halfway through this mess, I was hoping he'd get hit with a brick, not a sandwich.
Jesus Christ.
And then he keeps on going. But and so that's that one. I like that. It's a lot of those who's like, it's not fun. Boo. And then there's a you don't see that a lot. It's a 4 out of 10 review.
Oh, a middling review.
Yeah. And I think, well, I won't give it a 4. I would give it higher than that. But I sort of agree with him.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to the thousands of people who voted this movie a really good movie. I didn't think so. I like Nicolas Cage just as much as the average guy, and I know this movie is not his usual type of role, but still, the movie is dark, shows problem at home, at work, and with the family. All real-life situations, with real-life outload thinking. This movie does nothing but explain that life isn't easy and things don't always come out the way you thought they would be. I mean, come on, this is just regular life, as most people know it, except annoying dark music that's simply just emphasizing the fact that he is really down.
Yeah.
But I would say that I agree with what he's saying, but I would say that as a good thing.
Yeah, and it reminds me of a comment I got on a review I made a couple of years ago for the movie Vivarium. Mm-hmm. Did you see that one with Jesse Eisenberg?
No, I did not.
Okay, because it's a similar movie where the story of the movie is basically like how like suburban life it can like literally, figuratively and literally be hell. Like it's like being stuck in a nightmare, like you know. And I really liked that movie. I thought it was one of the better movies of 2020 or whatever it was. But then I got a comment who mentioned that it's kind of I don't know how to explain it. Like it's kind of bad to portray a perfectly like good life, like, you know, a house, a wife, a child, you know, you have a car, you have a job, as something bad when there are so many people, you know, struggling to make ends meet. And here we have people like philosophizing about upper middle class people and how hard it can be to, you know, be in the middle situation. And I can kind of I can see that, but I also think it's not. I think it's unfair to criticize the movie for doing that, because, like, this movie really shows, like, it doesn't matter if you have a good job and you have a family and everything. You can still just feel horrible. And just because someone has it worse than you doesn't mean you have to like the situation you are in. And I got a kind of similar feeling from that review you read, like he should just suck it up. He's got a good job, whatever, But that's not what it's about.
Yeah, and I mean that is sort of regarding the comment you got.
Yeah,
because that is sort of it is. Well, to talk about that, it is sort of it's two different symptoms to the same issue. I mean, people living in suburbs and being miserable, and people living on the streets being miserable. They're both miserable because they're caught in a capitalistic system that creates this misery of your life's worth is dependent on what you own and what you do for a job.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if you want to go talk about that, you can.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm up to having that discussion at this moment, but that's my answer to that guy, that specific guy, whoever that was.
Yeah. Like I can see his point of view, but I didn't quite agree with it. Like, because I've always hated those kind of people say like, oh, you can't be sad. There's people who has it much worse than you. And it's like, yeah, that's how it is for like. You can say that. You can say that to the starving children in Africa, because there are children who actually died from starvation. They have it much worse than you. They died. Yeah. What are you crying for? You at least get to eat once a month.
Yeah.
Like yeah. There's always someone who has it worse than you.
Yeah.
So to like try and use that as a way to think, well, I guess I have it kind of good then. Like, no, that's not how it works.
No.
And it's not fair to criticize someone who's well off for being depressed. It's not a good look. Oh no, I had a perfect zinger to end it with, but I forgot it. Anyway,
what a singer. Anyway,
yeah. Oh, well, it's not that, but I saw a recent review on Letterboxd, which kind of it's a quote from the movie, and it kind of encapsulates his state of mind in the movie. It's, I don't know if you remember, I think it's towards around the scene where he throws some soda back into the car, or after that, when he says he realizes that I am fast food.
All right, yeah.
Because people always throw fast food at him, stuff you don't even want to finish eating, so you just throw it at someone. I am fast, and he says that. I just read it like, oh shit, that's right. He's disposable. He's kind of garbage. So let's end on that down note.
Great.
To capture the feeling of the film, and let's grade it. How would you on a scale of 1 to 10? Where would you put this?
So it's one of those problematic scores where I have to look inward and thinking objectively and subjectively, because subjectively I want to give this like a 6.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the movie personally, but objectively I want to give it like an 8 maybe. So I'm gonna give it a 7. So I'm gonna stay at 7. And
right in between the objective and subjective.
Yeah,
perfect.
I mean, if I wouldn't bash anyone for giving this an 8 or 9.
Yeah, and I can definitely see why people will give this a much lower score. I get it. I get it. I would give it an 8. I've already given it an 8 on Letterboxd, because it just got to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's close to like, well, it's a really good movie, close to being a great fucking movie.
Yeah, true. Just not a subject matter I like. So that was The Weatherman. In 2005, Nicolas Cage made 2 movies. It was Lord of War, which was last week, and this one, The Weatherman. So now we're down to the last year for this season of the podcast, which is 2006, where he made 2 movies, World Trade Center and Wicker Man. So next week we're gonna watch Wicker Man,
which is, I would say, even though it's still in second season 2, Mr. Superstar, that was the first sign of what's to come.
Yeah, it was somewhere around there that he became the joke.
Yeah, Yeah, because that was the first time you started seeing, like, on YouTube, on YouTube, and I guess maybe later, but, from that movie, where you started seeing compilations of Nicolas Cage is crazy, how to get burned scene.
Yeah, there was this, I think it's the video we've talked about before, the long analysis video about him.
Yeah.
Where they talk about that video, the Wicker Man compilation video of Nicolas Cage going crazy.
Yeah.
That was the pin. That was the thing that created the meme Nicolas Cage. That specific video to this specific movie. And so, regarding Wicker Man, I've seen it several times. I think you have too.
Yes.
Yeah. And I am very excited because I know it's fun. It's a really fun movie. It's not good anywhere, what I remember at least.
Yeah, it truly deserves its reputation.
Oh yeah. Well, at least from what I remember.
Yeah, sure.
Which most people don't know. I know you know that, but I'm talking to the audience. Wicker Man is a remake of an older movie with Christopher Lee, and I think that's the only actor you know from that movie.
Yeah, I don't recognize him.
And the original is very, very good. I remember.
I've seen the original, because it's a classic British horror movie.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Which means it has to do with cults.
Yeah, and it's this.
They like cults.
This one old policeman going to an island to investigate a murder.
Yeah,
and it's very, very British.
Very British. I've seen it once, and I think I didn't quite grasp, because it's also like it's in certain circles become or is a cult classic. Like, not because it's bad, but because it's actually good.
Yeah, and it's sort of forgotten.
Yes, exactly. And I when I saw it, it was around the time I'd seen the first Wicker Man. I think you showed it to me.
Yeah, I think we saw it together.
Yeah, and I at that time didn't get why people loved the original so much. So I'm interested in rewatching both the movies.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try. I won't promise anything, but I'm gonna try to watch both of them because I am interested to see them sort of back to back.
Yeah,
and I think could be good to review. So I'm gonna try, and we'll see if any of us do it.
Yeah. I also this might be an off-air discussion, but I think there are like a couple of different cuts of the Nicolas Cage version.
Oh, maybe. Well,
because I know the one version that I have bought was like heavily edited to like not show any of the little gore there is.
Huh. Well, I guess we'll talk off air and just decide which one we will watch. So we'll watch the same one.
Yes.
But yeah,
we'll do it off air. So for now, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to follow along in the next week's episode, check out The Wicker Man, either both or at least the Nicolas Cage version. And if you want to get these episodes in advance, along with some exclusive episodes from my other podcast and commentary tracks and a bunch of other stuff, exclusive stuff, check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. For just $3 a month, you'll get all the perks. But other than that, follow us on all the platforms wherever you're listening to this, and we'll see you in the next episode. But until then, have a good one. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Madness in the Method is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It is hosted by Tobias Vedén and Christopher Billén. It is produced and directed by Tobias Vedén, after a concept by Christopher Billén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén and Laura Kinney. A big shout out to all our patrons over on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Laura Kinney, Mom, and Dad.